You know the feeling. It's the early 80s. MTV is on, turning songs into moments and musicians into icons. Movie soundtracks aren't just background music, they're emotional touchstones, forever tied to scenes, stories, and the way those years felt. And late at night, the radio still rolls, guiding you through sophisticated grooves, smooth arrangements, and songs that seem to understand exactly where you were in life. Welcome to It's the Groove, the podcast that uncovers the hidden connections behind the music we love. Today, we're stepping back into that moment when pop, R&B, and adult contemporary music wasn't just heard, it was experienced. Hi, I'm Dave, your co-host, and as always, I'm joined by the 80s music muse herself, Kelly. How are you today, Kelly?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to our conversation with Rob today.
All right. Well, Kelly is nudging me in the ribs, reminding me to ask you to hit that like button, subscribe to our program to make sure you don't miss any of the content, and send us your feedback. We're thrilled to be joined by one of the quiet architects of the 80s sound, keyboardist, arranger, producer, and composer, Rob Mounsey. His musical fingerprints are everywhere. On Steely Dan's Gaucho, Donald Fagen's The Nightfly, Madonna's Crazy for You, Phil Collins' Against All Odds, Michael Frank's Skin Dive, Karen Carpenter's work, and so much more. If you've ever been pulled in by a horn line, a keyboard texture, or an arrangement that made a song feel timeless, there's a good chance Rob had something to do with it. So settle in, turn it up, and join us on this journey of discovery. Because once you hear these songs through Rob Mounsey's story, you may never hear them the same way again. Welcome, Rob, to It's the Groove.
Thanks. Thanks for the invitation. Nice to be here. Nice to be with you. Hope we can say some things that are of interest to people. You know.
Oh, I'm sure you will. You've touched so many of the songs that have touched our hearts, and Kelly is an avid liner notes person. And as we've been going through, and doing our research, we kept finding your name, and lo and behold, we're able to connect with you, and here you are. So
Yeah,
we're glad to be with you. Why don't we start at the beginning? You tell the story about finding one of your old date books and what that used to look like.
Yeah. It was a page a day. I found those old date books and was so it was amazing that you would there was a pool of maybe 200, 300 people you'd see all the time doing 3 sessions, 4 sessions, 5 sessions a day. Just running from here to there. And there may have been a dozen to 20 recording studios in Midtown.
Okay.
In Midtown Manhattan. And we were just running back and forth all day and saying to each other, "Are you on that 3 o'clock over at Media Sound?" "No, I don't have that one. I'm on that 1 o'clock over at some other place." And they went by so fast, you didn't really have time to think about it. It was pretty wonderful. But I'd see, pages in my old date books. There were a lot of television commercials, and that was a big part of how we made a living.
Right.
And it was nice because the sessions were really only booked for an hour.
Okay.
With a possible 20 minutes overtime, and you were there to do maybe a 60-second ad or a 30-second ad.
Okay.
So, the page would say, there's a soft drink commercial, beer commercial, car commercial, Steely Dan, who's that? I'm not sure. And another beer commercial.
Wow.
And,
So fairly early in your career, then you started doing a little bit of work with Ashford and Simpson, and we're familiar with their work. In fact, we did a program about 6 months ago about about them because it's interesting. People, we knew of their solo work, but then once we started digging in, we found all the tracks that they wrote for other artists. And really, that was
Yes.
maybe the biggest part of their success was all the
Yes.
phenomenal songs back in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. And
Yeah. And those songs.
How did you, yeah, exactly. How did you come to work with them?
I was trying to remember. It's so long ago. It's so long ago. It must have been through Pendarvis.
Okay.
Because I think he was always tight with them. I just adored them, and they welcomed me into their scene with so much appreciation, so much warmth. Like they're just such great people and such world-class musicians that those songs, Ain't No Mountain High Enough,
right?
And oh man, they don't, those songs are just they're like what I call brick houses. You know, they're just, I'm sorry, they're just built so well,
right?
And
you might even say they're solid.
Solid.
Yeah. Rim shot. Did contribute heavily to their album A Musical Affair.
Yes.
And I saw that your name was all over that. You were doing some arrangements and keyboard work and all that.
I was so young. I can't believe it now. I was like 24, 25 years old. I was a kid. Yes, one of my favorites is a single for Gladys Knight, which is called Landlord. The song Landlord. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
did the orchestra arrangement on that, and I loved Gladys. I barely met her.
Torn apart, desperately in need of fixing. I never found a heart big enough, let alone someone in whom I could trust. Oh, you opened up to let me see. In your heart there was room enough for me. You're the landlord and the keeper of our love. You're the landlord and the keeper of our love.
You know, Nick and Valerie had such a great kind of model set up. They would write all the songs for an artist. They would produce the tracks. Valerie played. She's a great pianist, and as everyone knows, one of the great singers. And Nick, who sadly we lost a long time ago, was more about the lyrics, I think, and Valerie was more about the notes.
Right.
They're just such great people. Valerie is still around, doing everything she ever did, just as brilliantly as she ever did it.
And we'd love to get her on the program because, like I said, we've done the program about Ashford Simpson, but we know that she has, like you said, she's a great singer. She's done a lot of backing vocals, and when you read her credits, it's like, oh my goodness, you know,
it's everybody.
So, yeah,
and singing for people like Quincy Jones,
right? Yes,
backgrounds for.
She was on some Steely Dan songs too.
Yeah,
so you know, which brings us to the Gaucho album. And your work obviously with Steely Dan, and you know, Gaucho was kind of the ultimate in meticulous studio production. So what was it like working in that environment?
I never knew any of the musicians to be unhappy doing that stuff. I mean, it was really demanding and really difficult, and sometimes kind of exhausting. But I always knew the musicians to really want to be there and stay as long as it took,
Mhm.
because you knew it was going to be great stuff. You know, it was going to be really, really interesting, different songs and great production. And so you did your best to give them what they wanted, even though it wasn't always completely clear what that was,
Mhm.
or why exactly you were failing to give them what they wanted. I'm not sure that they always knew either.
Yeah. So you were really involved in a number of the songs on that album, one of them being Babylon Sisters, and you did
Yeah.
not only playing, but you also did some of the arranging. So, especially the horn arrangements. So tell us a
Yes.
little bit about, the use of bass clarinets, because that's a very
Yeah.
unusual instrument
Yeah.
in pop music.
Yes.
And then also there's a very interesting 11 note
Oh yeah.
horn break that goes right into the Randy Brecker solo. And that's just fast. How'd you come up with that?
Somebody finally asked about that. I was waiting for somebody, and it was you, Dave. Someone was gonna, it's one bar. It's one measure. It happens about 3 minutes in.
Yes.
Roughly. It's we're way into the song already. I knew what I was going for, and I knew Donald was going to like it. But those 11 notes, I probably worked on them for 3 or 4 hours.
Wow. It's amazing, though. I mean, it's
trying
a part.
all these. Yeah, I was trying all these different things. I knew it was going to be this unison line. I knew it was going to sort of climb, and I knew it was going to be triplets, and I knew what the rhythm was going to be, and I knew it was going to be really like in the nice register for the tenor sax, because Donald's really into the tenor. He's a big tenor aficionado. He loves Dexter Gordon and Sonny Rollins and that all of that stuff. And I knew how I wanted it to feel. That I wanted it to feel kind of like a little Picasso, like two eyes on the same side and the nose over here and the mouth upside down on the forehead, like little off, asymmetrical.
Okay.
In a certain way.
Here come those Saturday winds again.
Yeah.
So I worked on those 11 notes for hours.
Wow.
Trying to get that right.
Well, they're very much
I was really proud of that arrangement, because I remember going in to record it. And it was the two bass clarinets playing in fifths. That was Donald's idea, as I remember it. Yeah, and the part was already being played by Don Grolnick on the Rhodes.
Okay.
And he said, "Let's do that. Let's double that with two bass clarinets playing in fifths." And of course, I thought, yeah, sure. That's really interesting. Never heard of that before.
Exactly. It's like
and it's so much a personality of the song. It's it's really deep in the DNA of the song. Can't really imagine the song without it.
Exactly.
But we recorded that. I remember that little basement studio under Studio 54, Sound Factory, I think was what they called it.
Okay.
And Donald came out in the room to hear us run it down, and we ran it down from top to bottom, and he turned and looked through the glass at Gary Katz, and he kind of shrugged, and he said, "It's perfect."
Wow.
And it's, we recorded it exactly the way that I brought it in. And that was a nice feeling because, you know, they would often find some little details to tweak,
Sure.
but he didn't want to tweak anything, which was nice. That felt like an accomplishment.
Drive west on Sunset to the sea. Turn that jungle music down, just until we're out of town. This is no one night stand, it's a real occasion. Close your eyes and you'll be there. It's everything they say. The end of a perfect day. Distant lights from across the bay. Babylon sister, shake it. Babylon sister, shake it. So fine, so young. Tell me I'm the only one. Here come those Santa winds again.
And as Donald was saying to me, I think that day, said he was trying to musically make a verse where nothing ever repeated.
Oh my God. Wow.
And when you think about it, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da, da-dee-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-dee-dee-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Really, all through the verse, it's sort of all new material. It's interesting.
Right.
And the kind of asymmetrical, the lines are asymmetrical. It was really, really interesting and difficult. Like I said, we played from noon to midnight, and man, we thought we were doing everything right. You know? and we see Donald and Walter and Gary in the booth, kind of going, I don't know. It's just around midnight. Donald and Walter came out in the room and said, "Well, we appreciate you guys working so hard on this. We just don't think it's going to come together. We're just going to throw out the song."
Wow.
We're thinking, "Oh man, you can't." I've heard Steve tell the story a little bit differently from me. Steve kind of takes credit for persuading everybody to stay. I'm saying, "No, we are going to stay and we're going to get this." And we stayed till 4 a.m.
Oh my God.
And did, I think, another 7 complete takes. And all these takes are to a click track. So at 4 a.m., we finally said, we must have it. Like we all gave up. We went home. Jeff Procaro had to go straight to the airport to fly to Oklahoma City to do a Toto concert.
A Toto concert, yeah. There you go.
With his brothers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then later that week, we got messages from them. "We really want to thank you guys for staying. We think there might be something here we can use."
Jeez. And what was that something?
Well, the story goes on. Apparently, according to Gary, I saw Gary a few years ago, and he filled me in on more details. Apparently, they cut the 2-inch tape, the 2-inch 24 track. They cut it in about 20 places.
Oh my God.
And they edited together a master take out of all these bits of all these takes. And there must have been close to 20 takes, all of which sounded perfect to us. We couldn't tell, we wouldn't be able to tell them apart, I don't think.
Right.
And then, of course, erased everything but the drums. Because all of that was just to get a drum take they liked. And we came back and we replaced, we re-overdubbed our parts. Steve went back to do all of his stuff. I came back a different day. I think I played acoustic piano for 5 hours, and I played some Rhodes electric piano for about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't really too bad. I mean, could have been worse.
That was a light day, huh?
Well, it didn't. Yeah, to work for 5 hours replacing the keyboard parts didn't seem that unreasonable by comparison. Yeah. And then I think Walter Becker, played the bass. He replaced Anthony Jackson.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked by this. I was shocked that we'd go through all that just to get a drum take. Yeah. Then I heard a few years ago, there's a woman I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name. She wrote a couple of books about Jeff Porcaro, who was an astounding musician, incredible drummer, who could just play anything and was just inhumanly accurate about stuff. So I don't understand why they needed all that to get this from Jeff, because Jeff was unbelievable. Like really the best parts of Machine and Human. You know, he could be accurate like a machine, but still felt like a person, you know. Right. So, and it turns out I heard from this woman who wrote some books about Jeff. She was writing a new edition of her book about him. She told me he knew the whole time. Through the whole session, Jeff knew it was just to get a performance from him. The rest of us were just to kind of try to, demonstrate the feeling of the thing and get him into it.
Get him into
it. And they knew even at the time that we were just going to replace our parts.
Oh,
and
man.
That really, that was hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He never let on. I mean, Jeff never, nobody did. We thought we were making the record.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We didn't know we were going to come back and replace stuff. And for crying out loud, like, why? Well, ours is not to question why. Ours is to ride the horses into the valley of the shadow of death. Whenever the red light is lit, you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're still listening to those tracks 45 years later,
Yes.
and
yes.
So let's listen.
So, and Gaucho, the album, is very commonly used to test audio systems.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've heard that many times, like when live sound, when people are setting up on stage to do live sound, to do live show, they will run that album through the system just to evaluate how good the system sounds. And that's, it's one of the standards that they depend on. And, to me, those records, that and Nightfly too, like they still sound modern.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't. I mean, technically, I mean, they're over 30 years old. Almost 40 years old.
45.
They sound very modern to me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's a lot of what we loved at the time and what we still love today.
What I tell you back down the line, I'll scratch your back, you can scratch mine. No, he can't sleep on the floor. What do you think I'm yelling for? I'll drop him near the freeway. Doesn't he have a home? Lord, I know you're a special friend, but you refuse to understand. You're a nasty
Exactly. Kelly, why don't we shift to the Night Fly?
Yeah, we're going to talk about IGY from the Nightfly. This is my favorite song from that album.
Mm-hmm.
You arranged the horns and worked closely with Donald Fagen. How did
Mm-hmm.
you approach that arrangement, especially outside of the Steely Dan framework?
Well, I guess I didn't think about the Steely Dan framework. To me, it was still kind of Steely Dan. It was
Mm,
Donald. Um, so that song in particular, when I hear it now, it reminds me that some of those ideas are strictly Donald. He just kind of sang them to me, and just asked me to just take dictation. And that whole intro line, ba 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 ba, that's all Donald.
mm,
He sang that stuff to me. He couldn't figure out things like, for some reason he wasn't hearing it, how to get out of that intro line into the verse.
mm.
It harmonically goes to a really remote place. The intro's in B major, 5 sharps, and then it goes into the verse, and the verse is in F minor, 4 flats.
Oh,
So it really like turns a really sharp
Yeah.
corner. So I was able to do yeah, that was me.
I gotcha.
It's
Yeah, now I
Great.
know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah.
yeah, like put that G natural in there, and then the G sharp becomes an A flat, and then it turns around, it goes into F minor, and like took a minute to think of something, but and then most of the rest of it, he would just say, just fill the rest in, you know, like all the moving chords and stuff. I'd been working with him for a little while, and he would kind of say, you know what I like. And I did.
Wow.
And I liked it too. So it's not a problem.
So you're kind of like Donald's mad scientist. That's what it sounds like, you know. He's
A
like,
little
here,
bit. He said to me once, I could really do this myself. I said, yeah, I know. He said, the thing is, it would take me about 3 months, and it takes you 3 hours.
wow.
And said, maybe that's true. He's exaggerating, but I know what he means.
Right.
I kind of lived in a place where I could look at it very analytically and in a really what's the word I want? It's just a very methodical way of putting all the pieces together.
And that's an amazing compliment, you know, because obviously, like I said,
Yeah.
Donald had it up here, but he couldn't get it out.
Yeah. Or like he said, he would get there, but it would take him a long time. It would be a long struggle.
So with
It was a compliment. I thought it was kind of sort of accurate. I mean, I was happy to.
So what does that process actually look like in the room, especially when you're working with the other players like the Brecker brothers?
Mm-hmm. Well, what it looks like in the room is that I'm the only one in the room with a pencil. I've got to like spend time with the track, and I've done so much stuff where there's an existing track and people say, make a horn arrangement, make a string arrangement. That's a certain kind of arranging work. If, where you're not arranging from the ground up, where I'm not arranging the rhythm section 2, there's an existing track. And so an important part of the process, I think, is to really listen to the track in this very open way and let the track tell you what it wants. If you just really, I like to just really live with it and walk around, pace around, and just let it sink in. Because you start hearing things in the track that aren't there. The track is sort of talking to you, telling you what it wants.
Right.
what's going to complete the feeling and the sound and the whole personality and the attitude. So, when the players are in the studio, I've got to come in with everything notated.
Mm.
And the horn players, and especially string players, they come from a world where they want to see all of the nuances written down.
Right.
And they're expert sight readers at reading it, which is not. Or can we take out this little piece, or could we make this a little higher, lower, or things can change on the session as long as it's not complete rewriting, which would be too much of a chore. But the writing, the arranging is something I have to do on my own. A big part of it is understanding the instruments, and as time goes by, I appreciate more understanding registers of instruments and how and what they call tessitura. Tessituras from the opera world. It's about register.
Well, I just learned something today.
Yeah, and for me, the best way to really improve being able to write for those instruments, one of the best ways there is to be in the studio and listen to them while they're warming up.
Oh.
And they don't even know you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what the trumpet players play when they're just warming up. The trombones, the saxophones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they're going to play stuff that they enjoy playing and that makes them sound good.
Yeah.
And if you're in touch with that, then you can put something on the page for them that they'll like to see. Makes me sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's shift gears a little bit, and you also have experience as a producer. So one of the things that you produced was Michael Franks, and you did a number of his albums. And I know that we have some of our podcast listener fans that are big Michael Franks fans. So tell us a little bit about the Skin Dive album, and how were you able to capture his kind of sophisticated style?
Well, Michael kind of he dictated his style. I mean, there was no way to get away from it if it was him. The first I did 3 albums with him.
Okay.
The first one was called Passion Fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I believe, 1982. That's the first production job that I ever did.
Wow.
And I didn't come up thinking I was going to be a producer. I wasn't quite sure what a producer was. I knew that the producer was the boss somehow.
Right.
So it's basically kind of like the director of a movie, sort of. And Michael invited me to produce that. I had done some playing and some little arrangements or something on a previous album of his called Objects of Desire, which was produced by Michael Colina. And we got to be friendly, and he called me and asked me if I would produce the next one. And I was very nervous. I said, are you sure you want me? I'm not sure what that really is to be a producer. I mean, I've worked for a bunch of other producers at this point, so I should have some idea, except they were all different.
Yeah.
And I did 3 records with him. In retrospect, I sort of feel like that was the most successful one out of the 3. And the reason I feel that way is suddenly when it came to the next one, Skin Dive, and then there's another one called The Camera Never Lies. But
One of the things we loved, we're big Brenda Russell fans, and
she's fantastic.
the way that she blends with Michael on the "When I Give My Love to You" song,
Mm-hmm.
so how did that come about? Was that you? Was that Michael? How did you all?
I think it was Michael's idea. He really wanted to do that with her. I don't think that we were ever in the same room. I don't think I ever got to meet her. We talked on the phone and we kind of did it remotely.
I gotcha. Okay.
She's great. I think she's fantastic. I love her.
Yeah. That's another one we want to get on the program sometime. We know she's working on a new album right now, so hopefully when that comes out, maybe she'll pop by. It's the Groove, and
when the world's too square, I discover you are always there, and no other lover can compare. When I give my love to you, 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 I can feel the downtime ending. Words can simply not reveal the degree of ecstasy only you can make me feel when you give your love to me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's
so Kelly, let's do a little bit of a switch here. Let's talk a little bit about Madonna.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to talk about Crazy for You. It's from the Vision Quest soundtrack, 1985, and it's one of Madonna's most iconic ballads. You're credited with helping shape this record. How did you get involved with this song?
Well, the song, actually, Phil Ramone, who I worked a lot with for 35 years, Phil had done a previous version of it. And apparently the label didn't like it, or Madonna didn't like it. I'm not sure. She started over. And she started by starting to make a track with a drummer friend of hers named Stephen Bray.
Yes.
Good drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly the record is produced by Jelly Bean Benitez. Now, Jelly Bean was a DJ. He was a DJ from Xenon, the big Xenon club in New York. Yes, well, this was, I believe, for Warner Brothers, and I had gotten a little bit friendly with Michael Austin at Warner Brothers, who was Mo Austin's son, because when I did the Michael Franks records, Michael Franks and I would go to Michael Austin's office and play him the album when it was finished. And Michael Austin apparently said to Jelly Bean, you're a DJ, this is a ballad. And because it's a ballad, you need an arranger. You should work with an arranger. Why don't you work with this Mounsey guy? And he knew me from Michael Franks.
Sure.
So for somehow, and I don't remember how it happened, I did make a sort of an orchestral arrangement or an orchestral sketch of about 6 staves, but then I played all the parts on synthesizers, played everything on electronics, and sort of made this electronic orchestra. So almost the whole track is me, except for Stephen Bray. And at some point, Madonna said, this is for a movie. You know how in a movie there's always like an oboe or something? She said, can we get an oboe? Can we put an oboe on this? I said, yeah, okay. I had a pencil and I had some manuscript paper and I had George Marge's telephone number. George Marge at the time was the top double reed player in the studios in New York, oboe and English horn. I think we got him over there that day, and I just scratched out those little oboe lines, this little distorted guitar line. It's actually two DX7s midied together, each going through an Ibanez tube screamer stomp box.
Oh, wow.
There's some deep trivia for you.
That's right.
And the oboe lines, which are really a big part of the personality of the record, which was Madonna's idea, and it was a good idea.
Well, John Bettis has said that your contribution helped turn this song into a hit. When you think about it, when you think back on it, what do you think you brought to the song?
Oh, pretty much everything. I mean, most of the track is me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's almost all me. The difference is there's a legend that the background vocals were my idea. The background vocals were not my idea.
Mm-hmm.
But
Great song,
So that's-
Mel. I mean, just it's
she
truly
hate-
one
she
of my
hated it.
really,
He-
and it's one of
And
my
it-
favorite Madonna songs, and
And it was number one.
Huge
yeah,
hit.
absolutely.
It went to number
Yeah.
one. It bumped "We Are the World."
Swaying room as the music starts. Strangers making the most of the dark. Two by two, their bodies become one. I see you through the smoky air. Can't you feel the weight of my stare? You're so close, but still a world away. What I'm dying to say is that I'm crazy for you. Touch me once and you know it's true. I never wanted anyone like this. It's all brand new. You're feeling it in my kiss. I'm crazy for you. Crazy for you.
Oh wow! Oh my God! Imagine that
From the number one
Jeez.
spot.
Yeah.
Ah.
Strange but true.
Well, talking about music icons, we also know that you worked on I guess, a Skunkworks project that stayed buried for quite some time, and that's the Karen Carpenter solo album. I guess it was Karen Carpenter album.
Yes.
And it was recorded back during this time, I think early 80s or whatever, but it wasn't released for many, many years.
Yes.
And it was after her untimely passing, of course. But
Yes.
you know what? So here's the interesting thing. We're doing a little background work. I didn't even know that record existed. Now, I'm a huge Carpenters fan from back in the 70s when they were all over the radio. And I never knew she had a solo album. And then after I found that, I'm starting to listen to it, and I find this one song that I love that's called "Guess I Just Lost My Head." So what do you have to do with that?
Well, that's my song. That's
Is
that's
it?
one of the few, very very few times I was ever really a songwriter with a song that was covered.
Oh my
You know,
God, that's yours. You wrote
That's-
that. Oh my
wrote
God.
the song. Yeah, I was 24 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great song. And
Thank you.
it's, I think, and obviously there's some drama behind this story about why it wasn't released, and
Mhm.
we don't have to get into the drama. But
Oh, we can. It's not that we can get into it. It's not. It doesn't really offend anyone. But she made that record with Phil Ramone,
Right.
very closely with Phil.
Mhm.
No, this was in the early days of when I was working with Phil, and most of the musicians playing on the tracks and stuff were musicians from Billy Joel's band.
okay.
lot of good, really good players.
Mm-hmm.
And we loved Karen. She was a great, great person.
She
She's
had the
very,
voice of an angel. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just
yeah. She
yeah,
was also a very good drummer.
Mm-hmm.
right.
She
Yeah.
was a good drummer, and she was a great, great person to work with. She, was very appreciative of what everybody did.
Mhm.
The thing is, at that time and for that project, she was trying to break away a little bit from the whole sound and style of stuff that she'd done with her brother Richard.
Mhm.
And as you might expect, Richard did not like the album,
Mm.
and he just thought it was, he disagreed with Phil on the whole direction. And so yes, it was shelved for over 20 years.
Mm.
It just went on the shelf, and she sadly died quite soon after we finished the album.
Mm.
I think it was within a year of finishing that record.
Wow.
And then it sat on the shelf for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're gonna play Guess I Just Lost My Head because I think it's a great song. So thanks for writing that. And yeah, well, like I said, if it had come out at a different time and place, maybe
Mm-hmm.
right when it was recorded, I bet that would have been a top, a top
Yeah.
song. So
I don't know.
we'll see.
Karen rewrote the lyrics to the very first line
Okay.
because the way that I had it, the way I was thinking of it, it's a man singing to a woman,
Oh, sure. Okay.
asking her to forgive his bad manners, but he's just so taken by her, so attracted to her that he's made a fool of himself, and that's kind of what the song's about. But the first line was, I really don't mean to stare. I was only watching the flower in your hair.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And Karen rightly said, that's a little weird if it's a woman singing to a man. The man's not wearing a flower in his hair. That's a little odd.
Yeah.
So she changed it to, I was only trying to memorize you there, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't mean to stare. I was trying to memorize you. So I thought it was kind of inventive, She was really special person. She was very, very smart. The musicians really, really adored her.
Mm.
And then it was maybe 6 to 8 months later, she died.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really
Just a
shocking,
tragic.
upsetting.
Yeah, just
Everybody.
tragic. Yeah.
I really don't mean to stare. I was only trying to memorize you there. You know I meant no harm. It's just that the starlight in your eye gave me a chill, nearly made me cry. I'm sure it's very clear. I don't know what's going down. You're gonna win this poor girl from out of town. I like the way you move so much that I guess I just lost my head. I know I should really know much better. I guess I just lost my head. I know we don't really know each other, so pardon the things I said. Won't you tell me you forgive me?
Yeah.
Kelly, let's
Against all-
shift gears again.
Yep. Let's talk about Against All Odds by Phil Collins. How did you get involved with that project?
That was so hard. It was Arif Mardin,
Mm-hmm.
one of the great ones.
Yes.
Quite an amazing gentleman. not just, a great record executive with Atlantic Records and all that, but and producer, but also really a wonderful arranger and musician in his own right. That was so difficult. When he called me to play it, that entire piano part is almost completely specifically notated, note for note, and it was about 7 pages long. He spread this out on the piano, and he had no track really. What he had was a Linn drum machine, the LM2, the Linn drum that we used all the time, the smaller Linn drum, and the Linn drum was playing. There's no subdivisions. And it's just playing that. And I had to play his notated piano part. I was sweating bullets. It really was tough. And there was very little room for me to change anything or add anything or bring anything different to it. It was really specifically notated. The main thing, the contribution I can hear is the very last chord. The voicing of the last chord was something that I wanted to do. It was not on the paper. That was great. Phil was there, but he had not sung. There were no drums. There was no vocal. There was nothing, really. There was the piano. The next thing that happened, I think I went into the booth and I played on my Jupiter 8. I played just a very sustained kind of organ bass part. So now there was piano and there's this organ bass. And then a string section came in and Arif went out in the room and conducted his string arrangement, which was great. It's beautiful. And they went on from there. I wasn't around when. I think that the drums actually were the last thing to be overdubbed. So, it kind of got made upside down.
So did Phil play the drums?
Yes.
Okay.
I understand that he did. I wasn't there, but yeah, I understand that he did, yeah.
Well, so I think that entire song is you and Phil, and then, like you said, the string section.
String section.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I don't think there's much else in there.
No.
There are no background vocals.
I looked at the credits, and it's like Rob Mounsey and Phil Collins, because they don't credit the strings, but obviously, they so.
Yeah, he never figured out who I was either. He never really. He thought I was Robbie Buchanan. He thought I was somebody else. Like, I don't know. I could never really penetrate. We were both at Arif's memorial service at Town Hall in New York, and he mentioned recording that record, and he called me Robbie Buchanan, which that guy's a wonderful musician, but it's a different guy.
Oh, you mean Phil Collins didn't know who you were? I thought,
yes,
okay.
Phil didn't know. No, Phil never he never hooked any of that up. But
I wish I could just make you turn around and see me cry. There's so much I need to say to you, so many reasons why. You're the only one who really knew me at all. So take a look at me now. Well, there's just an empty space, and there's
what did you learn from working with Arif, and how does working with him shape what you do today?
I wish I had worked with him more. I knew him. I didn't get to work with him that much, mainly on that track.
Hmm.
I did some stuff for him with Shaka Khan on "I Feel for You" album. I love Shaka, but he was a wonderful guy. So such a gentleman.
Hmm.
I always remember the stories of him leaving the office every evening and saying to his colleagues, "The regiment leaves at dawn."
Mm.
And that was his way of saying goodnight.
Yeah. Okay.
The regiment marches at dawn,
Mm.
gentlemen and ladies.
You're speaking our language, Rob, because we're huge Arif fans. We did an episode on him. We're huge Shaka fans.
Yeah.
So you're speaking our language. So as we wrap up, we're going to transition to one last, and this is actually a question from a friend of the program. I don't know if you know this gentleman or not, but his name is Don Brighthop.
Yes,
and he's very similar to you. That's right. He's very similar to you in that he's a composer and a producer and an arranger and a keyboard guy and a singer. So he does it all. But he's a friend of the program, and he was excited to hear that we were going to be speaking with you. And he mentioned the James Taylor track, "Stretch of the Highway," and that's off that Before This World album. And he knew that you arranged the horns for the track. So he basically asked the question is, when you come into an arranging situation, are the horns kind of one of the final layers after the vocals and the rhythm sections are in place, or how does that all come together?
Yes. In this case, they were. In this case, the track was there, the background vocals were there. Everything else was there. I think the horns were the last thing. Okay. Which made it a certain kind of challenge for me, because I love those background vocals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, James has this group of singers that he loves to work with, Arnold McCuller, and I don't know who's there anymore. And they do they work out such great background vocal arrangements. Just love hearing them. And you know, if you listen to the track, in a way, the background vocals can answer his song. The horn section can answer. I don't want them to step on each other.
Right.
I hear all this great background vocal stuff that I don't want to be stepping on. I don't want to be fighting with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's not always easy to look for the right little spots where they can comment and not crowd other wonderful things out of the picture. I love James. James is just the greatest.
Yeah. Don's comment also was mentioning that it's not just one or two horns. I think you had a whole section, a variety of different saxes.
It's five people.
Mm-hmm.
I looked it up. It's two tenors, two trombones, and a bari.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay. Great.
So it's no trumpets, no alto sax. It's no high instruments really.
Okay. Great.
So there's a lot of stuff where it's kind of two part, and the two tenors and the two trombones are playing, doubling two parts. There's a lot of that. There's also a lot of little things that I don't often do, but it felt right here. It's to, like, the bari part is different rhythms, and it's bouncing off the other guys. You know, but he's like popping out and making these little solo little grunts. Right. Which is fun. It feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a rhythmic statement. If it can be very simple, but if it's syncopated in the right way or not syncopated, downbeatish in the right way, it can really feel great.
Now, yeah.
You know, it's
So,
really,
how long was your or how long has your association with James Taylor lasted, and any other elements of that collaboration you want to talk about?
a long time. I first met him when he was contributing something to a Lucy Simon project, like a children's music project. And that's when I first met him. I was completely starstruck because I always
Right.
loved his music and like always hoped I would meet him. And then did quite a number of things. I did some stuff for an album called October Road.
Okay.
And there's that the newer record is called Before This World.
Okay.
If you're not aware of that album, yeah, it's a great album. It's a recent album.
Okay.
And that particular track that Don cites is fun because there's a long outro. There's sort of a long fade where the horn section just sort of comes up with this idea and then that idea and then that idea. It's a little parade of ideas going out.
Which is great.
They go from the less intense and less busy to a little more so and a little more so. It's fun. It's fun.
Now I'm gone, solid gone. I wanna thank the man that claimed the land. I wanna thank the man who trod the load in the burning sun and the freezing cold. I wanna thank the man who gave his road. Thank you, man.
I was just listening to it this morning, and I did notice the Barry, and I'm a sax guy myself, so when you put a Barry in something, I just that elevates it. So
Yes. Yeah, well, the bass saxophone is more of the same. We didn't mention Paul Simon, You Can Call Me Al, which is like the smallest horn arrangement I ever wrote, but it's been heard by millions and millions and millions of people.
yeah.
And Paul Simon and Roy Halley said, can you make a brass section just play this lick that one of the African rhythm guitarists plays?
Okay.
And that's all it was. It took maybe 5 minutes to write, except he said, how about like 3 trumpets and 3 trombones or something like that? But can we have a bass saxophone on the bottom?
Wow.
B-flat bass saxophone. So that's part of what makes it sound the way it sounds.
Yeah. How'd you find that?
They're around. I mean, the guys who
They're
play
pretty
Barry,
rare.
well, yes, the guys that play Barry will play the bass, but
Okay.
they may not own one. You may
Right.
have to rent one.
You mentioned You Can Call Me Al because when I talked to my daughter about, speaking with you, she, drew a blank. She's 28. And then I said, oh, yeah, he was involved in You Can Call Me Al. Oh, that's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Man walks down the street, it's a street in a strange world. Maybe it's the third world, maybe it's his first time around. Doesn't speak language, he holds no currency. He is a foreign man, he is surrounded by the sound
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they
it's
left
great.
the credit off the album when the album came out. I
Mm,
was a little upset about that.
yeah.
But now people know. So,
Yep.
hear the whistle blow, you go over the top. Just
Yep. There you go.
that's your duty.
Speaking of that, Kelly, why don't you take us home?
Okay, as we wrap up, it really hits you how connected the music we love actually is, and how much of a connection comes from people working just a little outside the spotlight. Rob is one of those rare artists whose fingerprints are everywhere. His influence stretches across decades, genres, and generations, even if his name isn't always front and center. From carefully crafted studio sessions to iconic film soundtracks and unforgettable live performances, Rob's work is a reminder that great music is almost never the result of one voice alone. It comes from collaboration, trust, and deep respect for the craft. Hearing his stories doesn't just give us context, it really changes how we listen. We're so grateful to Rob for taking the time to share these stories with us. So, next time one of those songs comes on, late at night on the radio or in a movie scene, or on a playlist you've loved for years, take a second and listen a little closer. There's a whole world behind that sound, and now you know one of the people who helped bring it to life. Thanks for spending time with us on It's the Groove. If you enjoyed this conversation, stick around because there's always more to discover in the music we love. And remember,
It's not the beat, it's the groove. Bye.
thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks
Rob.
so much. Thanks.